Hello, welcome to qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. 65 minutes of action bound to take place as we're going to have the first time set. And it's Olivier Panis to take the initiative, but Bertie has beaten Panis by 0.6 seconds. We're still waiting for the hours. There's the first hours to go through. Frentzen only just beats Bertie. And then Jenson Button has blown everyone out of the water. He's 2.5 tenths ahead of Frentzen. Ralf Schumacher still yet to make a time on the board. Frentzen's currently in second place. There's Ralf Schumacher. He's popped into third place in between Frentzen and Bertie. De La Rosa's in fifth currently with Panis in sixth place, but it's still Button in the lead. He's just improved his last time a little bit. He's now over 2.5 tenths away from in pole position. But we're still waiting for Ralf Schumacher to go back around for his second time lap, and he has not improved. He stays in third place. Bertie still in fourth. That was Salo going into sixth place in the Toyota, beating his teammate. Both Button and Frentzen have gone out. Button has improved, and so has Frentzen. But is anyone going to break into the 116s? It's very close for Button. It looks like Button might actually get pole position like he did in Italy. Maybe he'll convert it into winners. Bertie has managed to get in front of Ralf Schumacher, but Ralf Schumacher still has 6 laps to do. So he has 2 opportunities to get ahead of Bertie. Is his first one. Is he going to improve? Yes, he's improved. He's managed to get into second place ahead of Frentzen. Frentzen cannot improve. He's used all of his timed laps. As De La Rosa's in 5th place, he has not improved from 5th place. And Ralf Schumacher's back out again. He's not improved. He'll stay in second place. So that means Jenson Button, unless De La Rosa does something magical, Jenson Button is going to be on pole position. And De La Rosa does not improve his position. He's in 5th place. Salo stays in 6th, and that is pretty much qualifying over. It's Jenson Button on pole position. Ralf Schumacher in 2nd place, with Frentzen, the championship leader, in 3rd place. 4th place is Bertie, with 5th place being Pedro De La Rosa. And 6th place is Mika Salo. And then we've got Alonso, Panis, Barrichello, Schumacher, Fisichella, Coulthard and Lazy, the rest of the top 13 cars. As we are about to go into the race here for the Spanish Grand Prix, where championships can be won. Frentzen could win the championship today if results go his way, and Arrows can also win the Constructors Championship again if results go their way around this challenging Barcelona circuit. As we are going to be under starters orders now for the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a long, and it's go, go, go. Button keeps holding the lead. Ralf Schumacher's had a good start. Frentzen has been jumped by Bertie already before they even get to turn 1. Salo's been passing Pedro De La Rosa, I should say, and Panis is passing Alonso at the moment. Every car has managed to get away well. Are we going to have a repeat of the first corner accident that we had at Spa? Salo looking to try and get in the inside. Panis is looking to try and get in the inside of Frentzen as well. Salo looking down the inside. Frentzen's going to turn into the outside for turn 2, but Salo cannot get through as they go uphill through turn 3. Panis so close to hitting the back of Salo. But there you are. It's Button in the lead with Ralf Schumacher in 2nd place. Bertie's in 3rd with Frentzen in 4th. De La Rosa that was trying to pass Panis. He's down into 7th place already. There is your leader, Jenson Button in the Jordan. He might be able to make it 2 wins for Jordan at the moment. Ralf Schumacher in 2nd place. Bertie's in 3rd in the Jaguar. Frentzen is in 4th place at the moment. Neither of the championships are going to be decided at the for this race. There's Salo in 5th place in the Toyota. 6th place Panis in the BAR. That was something that went flying. I think that might have been a braking board marker for one of the Jaguars. Alonso there in 8th place. 9th place was Barrichello. 10th place Fisichella. 11th Coulthard currently in the McLaren. 12th place is Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari. 13th Takuma Sato. Jarno Trulli 14th. Alazy 15th. Webber 16th. Hakkinen in 17th. Raikkonen in 18th. I can't see who's 90th. It's probably Diniz in 19th. And that's 20th is Alex Young. As we finish the first lap of the Spanish Grand Prix. 26 laps around the Barcelona circuit. There is Alex Young propping up the back as per usual. Now this track was famed for being quite hard to overtake last season. If I remember correctly, there is Jenson Button currently leading in the Jordan. Ralf Schumacher is second, still holding up Bertie, it looks like. Fourth place is still Frentzen. None of them can really overtake each other at the moment, as they go up round turn 8, down, up the back straight, down towards turn 9. The slowest corner of the circuit. Gear 1 corner, down a little bit, and then going uphill through turns 12 and 13. There's Ralf Schumacher. He's already 1.5 seconds behind Button. He's pulling away a little bit. Whereas he's 8 tenths ahead of Luciano Berti as they finish lap 2. The classification at the moment: Button leads, Ralf Schumacher second, Berti third, Frentzen fourth, Salo fifth, Panis sixth, De La Rosa seventh, Alonso 8th, Barrichello 9th. Fisichella completes your top 10. And then 13th is Sato, 14th Trulli, 15th Lazy, 16th is Mark Webber, 17th is Hakkinen, Diniz is 18th, Young is 19th. Raikkonen has disappeared off the face of the earth. What has happened to the Flying Finn? Is he going to try one down the inside? He's tried one down the inside of Hakkinen, and he loses it on the apex of the corner, and he's now stuck in the middle of the road. That might actually be a retirement, I think. He must have stalled it as he spins, and yep, he's out of the race. Raikkonen becomes the first casualty. Now, as we get the championship standings up on paper, Frentzen currently leads Ralf Schumacher by 4 points. He's 7 points ahead of Bertie, meaning he has to be 3 positions ahead of Bertie, but Bertie is currently ahead of Frentzen. De La Rosa at the moment, if he stays this way, is going to be out of the championship hunt. So the 2-time defending champion will not retain his championship the 3rd season. At the moment, Arrows is leading by 15 points. They need to outscore Jaguar by 4 points. At the moment, they are, I think, outscoring them by 3 points. So again, that's another championship that's going to be decided in Germany, which is going to result into a quite monumental battle for the championship in Germany. There is De La Rosa in the Jaguar. Down the pitch straight, he's got to try and pass the BAR as quick as possible. He's being held up significantly by Panis. He looks down the inside. Is he going to try and outbrake the Frenchman? No. There's Alonso in 8th place. Barrichello is currently in 9th place as he goes around turn 3. Fisichella is in 10th place with Coulthard 11th. Michael Schumacher 12th place in the other Ferrari. It's not a good race at the moment for the Ferraris, as Trulli is in 14th place. 15th place is the Frenchman Jean Alesi. 16th is Mark Webber. 17th Hakkinen. 18th is Diniz, and propping up the back is still Young. Sorry, Raikkonen is out. It's the only retirement so far. As we go back on board with Jenson Button currently leading for the Jordan on merit, not through pure luck. Let's go slightly wide round turn 11. This is turns 12 and then a quick turn 13 or 14. I can't remember how many corners there are in this track. But he's going down the pit straight now, down towards turns 1 and 2. Gear 7 is 1.9 seconds ahead of Ralf Schumacher currently. Makes that 2.2. As he goes round turns 3, we go back on board with Coulthard, and there's Barrichello in 9th place, and he looks to be having a very slow exit around that corner. It looks like he might be stuck in gear, is Rubens Barrichello, as Fisichella tries to send one down the inside and he lets him through. Barrichello, they're clearing up a space in the Ferrari garage for a red car to park up. It's going to be Rubens Barrichello out of the Spanish Grand Prix pretty much before it starts. 5 laps that Ferrari has lasted before the gearbox has failed. 5 out of 26 laps. Not even a quarter of the way through the race. Not even a fifth of the way through the race, and Barrichello coming up to retirement. You can't even get out of 6th gear. He's losing heaps of time now. He's Coulthard. He's going to inherit 10th place and a point for the McLaren driver. Once he gets past Barrichello, and he's going to peel into the right hand side is Barrichello. Left hand side for the Coulthard, and Coulthard manages to get through, but as Barrichello goes into the pits to park his Scarlet Ferrari, there is Michael Schumacher being held up slightly by Coulthard. There's a big gap between 10th and 9th place of, I can't remember who's in 9th place. Coulthard is in 10th place at least, but 9th place is, I think, Fisichella, if I remember. Fisichella 9th place for the Renaults. Michael Schumacher sends one down the inside of Coulthard. It's going to be a very good overtake if he pulls this off. He's going to turn into the outside for turn 5. Coulthard trying to push him, run him out of road, and he has successfully defended, but Schumacher's going to send one down the inside of turn 6. He's going to send the outside of turn 7. He's going to have to try and do it the long way round turn 8, but Coulthard manages to keep the line round turn 8, and Mike Schumacher has to try and do that all over again. The sends one down the inside of turn 9, no. He's going to have to do it all over again as Michael Schumacher's great defending by David Coulthard between turn 4 and 7 to make sure he keeps the German behind him. There's no overtaking here at turns 12 and 13. So Schumacher's going to have to stay behind the McLaren. He's going to get some slipstream from Coulthard to try and send one down the inside of turn 1. At the moment he might not be quick enough unless he's going to have a huge no. Coulthard keeps hold of the last remaining point in the McLaren. Takuma Sato looks to try and capitalise, but he's 1.5 seconds behind. Is he going to try again? Rounds turn 4. We're going to have a repeat. No, we're not. Coulthard learns from his mistake and keeps a good racing line around turn 5. They go, and this is it's a flat out turn 6 here, and it's turn 7 and 8, the chicane, and up towards turn 9. There is Fisichella. He's now 10 seconds in front of this fight. As we go back on board with De La Rosa, who's currently in 7th place. He's losing heaps of time to the leaders. He's 5 seconds behind the top 4. As we go on board with, sorry, top 5. It's Salo that's in 5th place. We've got Frenton in 4th place. He's losing time to Bertie. Bertie's also losing time to Schumacher. It's 2 seconds gaps pretty much between the top 5. There's Jaguar with 34 seconds behind these leaders. It's pretty much 2 seconds gap between 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th as we go on board with Button. As we're on lap 8, we're expecting pit stops to happen between laps 8. That might push it to lap 11, but I don't see it being a benefit. So between laps 8 and lap 10, we're probably going to have the pit stops. As the Jordan team are going to get ready for a pit stop. I presume it's for Button because he's just super quick at the moment. And yes, Button goes diving into the pit the right hand side. Down to 100 kilometers an hour. It's a very long pit lane this is, especially compared to the pit straight. There's Ralf Schumacher. Bertie has also gone through. So has Frentzen. So has Salo. And now he goes away. 7.4 second stop that was. He's going to get out. He's not going to get out in front of Fisichella, but there's a huge gap for the leaders thanks to Coulthard. The leaders can easily get into that gap. He comes back out in 9th place. Relative clear air. So that's job done for Button at the moment. Rounds turn 4 goes net leader Jensen Button. There is Fisichella in 8th place in the Renault. 7th place is currently Alonso in the Toyota. 6th is De La Rosa. 5th Panis in the BAR, who is still holding up Pedro De La Rosa somewhat. 4th place currently is Salo, 3rd Frentzen, 2nd Bertie, and race leader is now Ralf Schumacher, who is 2 seconds ahead of Bertie. But we're going to see a whole heap of drivers going into the pits now. Bertie is one of the... Ralf Schumacher is not, importantly. Ralf Schumacher not pitting. It's Frentzen that's pitting for the arrows. It's the two of the main championship protagonists going into the pit at the same time. Bertie and Frentzen. Bertie dives to his pit box. So does Frentzen. Who's going to get out in front of who? There's a BAR coming down. Panis goes into his pit box. Bertie's an 8-second pit stop at the arrows. There goes the arrows. The gap looks like it might have shrank a little bit. It's 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. It's about 1. So it's 2 seconds. Pretty much is the gaps between the top two. Not top two. It's 1st and 3rd in the championship. There's Button. He's well ahead of them two. As we go above now with Alonso, who's actually caught up to the back of Pedro De La Rosa. 2nd place De La Rosa. He's going to have a fantastic in lap to try and get ahead of Panis. There's Ralf Schumacher still out in the lead currently. Is he going to jump Jenson Button? You'd probably think not. It's a very short lap round here, so you can't. There's not much of an advantage between the undercut and the overcut. There's a lot of slow speed corners. Not much stop. There's not much stop starting. It's quite medium paced corners, so I don't think Ralf Schumacher is going to get any sort of advantage as the rest of the field makes their pit stops. It's an 8.4 second pit stop for the arrows of Ralf Schumacher. Away he goes. There goes Button. He's going quite quickly. In fact, Ralf Schumacher has still gained time a little bit, but it's nowhere near enough as Ralf Schumacher keeps his hold on 2nd place. Bertie is 3rd with Heinz-Howard Frentzen in 4th place. It's going to make the championship in Germany rather exciting, because at the moment the top 3 will be separated by around 6 points, I think, if my maths is correct. So Ralf Schumacher will get 9 points at the moment. Bertie will be 8 and Frentzen will be 7. So Frentzen will move on to 83 points. Ralf Schumacher will move on to 81 points. And Bertie will move on to 77 points. So yeah, 6 points will... No, yeah, 6 points will be the gap between the top 3. Ralf Schumacher will catch up to be 2 points behind the championship leader of Frentzen in the constructors at the moment. I didn't catch where Pedro De La Rosa was at the moment as we're on board with Jarno Trulli in 15th place. Pretty much the closest battle on track at the moment. Young 16th place in Minardi. 17th is Diniz with Hakkinen is last in the McLaren in 18th place. As we have our 2 retirements of Barrichello and Raikkonen in 19th and 20th places. Go back on board with the leader, Jenson Button, leading in the Jordan like he was in Italy. Ralf Schumacher in 2nd. Bertie's catching up to Ralf Schumacher a little bit, it looked like. 2 seconds is the gap between 1st and 2nd places at the moment. Round turn 9 down towards turn 10 there is Ralf Schumacher. He's still 1.8 seconds ahead of Bertie, but Bertie is at the moment quicker than these lots as to go round turns 12. Pretty much a chicane that was, and then 2 fast right-handers leading him onto the pitch straight. There is Bertie in 3rd place in the Jaguar. Frentzen would be 4th. Button lead with Ralf Schumacher in 2nd. Bertie 3rd. 3.7 behind. Frentzen is in 4th place at the moment. Salo keeps hold of 5th place for the time being. Is 6th place going to be De La Rosa, or is it going to be Panis? The answer is it is De La Rosa. We did manage to get the jump on Panis. So if that is the case, So at the moment, the Jaguars are going to lose out another 2 points, so the gap will be 17 points between Arrows and Jaguar, with 19 points left to play for. Meaning that they're going to have a double Arrows retirement and a 1-2 or 1-4 finish for the Jaguars to take the jump. In fact, Panis lost out huge amounts of time by being behind Sato. That might have made the difference between Panis and De La Rosa. So Alonso's also stuck behind Sato. He has Fisichella catching up to him slightly as they go around turn 9, coming up towards turn 10 on this Barcelona circuit. Slowest corner of the circuit, as before mentioned, long sweeping corner, and then straight into the right hand of turn 11, and then it's the 2 fast corners of turn 12 and 12-13 that spits you out onto the pit lane. We are halfway through this race now, starting lap 14 of 26. Alonso getting the slipstream of Panis, is now back in the slipstream of Sato. Is Panis going to send one down the inside of Sato? Going to turn 1, no he isn't. Sato keeps hold of the racing line and keeps hold of 7th place, but Sato is yet to make a pit stop. You'd have thought after the pit stop Sato will relinquish the points, as we have a yellow flag here, and that's De La Rosa! That is De La Rosa! Parked up on the right side of the road, he's missing a front wheel. What has happened to De La Rosa? He's coming up to Alex Young, coming up towards turn 4. Is Young going to swipe De La Rosa? Yes, he is. De La Rosa has been swiped by Young. Now, is he just going to turn straight into he's turned straight into the inside wall? Has De La Rosa. This has massive implications to the Constructors' Championship, because now, at the moment, Arrows are winning the Constructors' Championship unless anything changes. At the moment, Arrows 16 points they're going to be gaining compared to the Jaguars 8 points. So the gap will go to up above 19 as Sato pits. Alonso took a very wide line round that corner, giving a huge advantage to Fisichella. As Fisichella goes send one down the inside of turn 1. It's a lovely shot of the starting pantry as Fisichella goes straight into behind Alonso. He didn't fancy making a move there, but at the moment we will have a Constructors' Champion in Spain in the form of Arrows, getting rid of the Jaguar dominance that we've seen for the past 2 seasons. They've cleared up De La Rosa's car of turn 4, turn 5 coming up now. Fisichella is half second behind Alonso now, as we have a replay of Panis. That was the replay. In fact, their Panis has actually disappeared, and there is the reason why Panis has disappeared. Is lost it round turn 1 and looks like he might be our next retirement. It's the 4th retirement of the race, as we look at the stricken BAR in 11th place. There is Frentzen in 4th place at the moment. He's got to try and put a lap around Bertie, but he's struggling to. Not Bertie, Diniz. Schumacher and Bertie have managed to get past Diniz. Diniz still in front of Frentzen. He's probably going to end up being passed now down the pit straight. Yeah, he is. Nicely passed there by Frentzen. There's Bertie in 3rd place. Ralph Schumacher in front. If an Arrows retires like one of the Jaguars, it means that the championship will still probably go to Germany. But again, there's still going to be a huge advantage for Arrows, because there's currently a 15-point advantage before we take these results into consideration. There is Ralf Schumacher in 2nd place in the Arrows. Rounds turn 6 and turn 7. No, so it's 7 and 8. I keep forgetting about the left kink before that corner. Turn 9, relatively flat in gear 5, and then down the back straight towards turn 10. I don't remember anymore, but Jenson Button keeping out of the trouble at the moment in the lead of the Jordan, heading towards its second victory of the season. Down the pitch straight he goes. He's got a 4.7 lead over the Arrows of Ralf Schumacher, who's entered the final 10 laps of this Spanish Grand Prix. Who'd have thought we'd see the drama that we've seen in this race? De La Rosa throwing a championship away. Literally, he's now out of the championship hunt regardless of the results. He will not retain the Drivers' Championship. It'd be down to between Ralf Schumacher versus Frentzen versus Bertie for the coveted Drivers' Championship, as Coulthard now tries to pass Sato. Sato's in 7th place at the It's 9th place at the moment. He is heading for 1 point, but Coulthard looks to try and put a move on Sato. Obviously, 3-point scorers have actually retired from this race, meaning that we're going to have a few stragglers in the low end of the points. Sato currently in 9th place. Be more good points for the Minardi team in their fight for 8th place. Button leads Ralf Schumacher 2nd, Bertie 3rd, Frentzen in 4th place. There is your top 4 currently. 5th place is currently Mika Salo in the Toyota, with 6th place being what will be, I'm not too sure now, Fisichella in 6th place. I am not too sure. And now we have 8th place is Michael Schumacher. Don't know who's started us in 9th place. It's actually a huge gap between 8th and 9th place at the moment. Rounds turn 13, turn 14. We've still got 9 laps to go. Coulthard still looking for a way past Sato, but Coulthard needs to make a pit stop still. It looks like. Might be making a pit stop in the next lap as we go back on board with your race leader, Jenson Button, in the bright yellow liveried Jordan. Round turn 12. He's going to make a pit stop this lap. So he's going to relinquish his lead again back to Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows. That was a very weird pit lane that I saw there. As changing all 4 tyres, Frentzen and Bertie both go past. Frentzen goes past into the pits, in fact. Frentzen pitting from what was 4th place. He's made the early pit stop between the top 4. And there is Diniz, the back marker. He's already been lapped, and he's still lapped by Jenson Button, who has made his final pit stop of the race. He took a very wide line round turn 3 as Jenson Button, showing off a little bit. There is Frentzen. He is still in 4th place. He's still ahead of Alonso, who is yet to make a pit stop. Alonso currently in 5th place. I think that's not a net 5th place, because his teammate is in front of him. His teammate was in front of him on the road, so Salo made a pit stop as well. There's Michael Schumacher in 6th place in the Ferrari. Salo is behind. There is Salo. He has made his pit stop. He's now going enough fuel to the end. Fisichella in 8th place. He has also made a stop. He's managed to get ahead of Sato. That's how much of a gap there was. Mark Webber currently in 10th place. He's on for 1 World Championship point for the Sauber. 11th place is a lazy 12th place. Starking, what's the word? Stark in contrast between his teammates. And then there was the 2 McLarens. Diniz between the 2 McLarens, and Young is there as Ralf Schumacher comes up to put a lap on David Coulthard. He is currently the race leader, is Ralf Schumacher. Coulthard not making it easy for Ralf Schumacher, I must say. Going to turns 8, turn 9. It looks like Bertie made a pit stop in the last lap. But Ralf Schumacher is still struggling to pass Coulthard. Just punt him out of the way. Just, try and slightly touch him out of the way. Make it look like a slight accident. Ralf Schumacher is actually risking losing a place to Bertie and Frentzen at the moment. As Ralf Schumacher makes his pit stop, he still didn't get past Coulthard from turns. Frentzen slowing down to the pit lane, 100 kilometers an hour, down towards his pit box. Not much time between there goes the 4 tyres onto the car. Button's already gone past Bertie. 5, 4, 3. Ralf Schumacher might have gotten away with it. 2 seconds currently. Hard brake point into the first corner. He has made it. He's gotten away with being stuck behind Coulthard. 1.8, 2 seconds the gap between Ralf Schumacher and Bertie. Managed to get enough of an overcut to make it all work. Bertie 3rd place currently in the Jaguar, 4th place. Frentzen's directly behind Bertie at the moment, 5/10 behind. The Brazilian is Frentzen. Bertie having a good acceleration from that corner. He's pulled out slightly. He's trying to catch up to Ralf Schumacher in 2nd place. If you can't win the Constructors' Championship, you may as well try for the Drivers' Championship now. Round turn 10. Turn 11. Coming up round the long as we go back on board with Mika Salo. They've all passed Diniz. Salo has to pass Diniz. They're on lap 21 now. Alonso's in 6th place in the Toyota. It's going to be a Toyota 5-6 at the moment if Alonso can negotiate Hakkinen easily. Round turn 11 goes Alonso, turn 12. He's on the inside of turn 12. He's took him a little bit. He span. Oh, what brilliant car control that was by Fernando Alonso to keep that car in position. Hakkinen's actually pitted. But that was fantastic car control, especially because he's still in 6th place, but he's got Fisichella and Michael Schumacher for company, both behind, and he's got that's not a hit. That is Diniz now. He's got to try. They've all got to try and negotiate the BAR. They come towards turn 4. Goes Alonso. Michael Schumacher has a little look down the inside. We're going to have a battle now for 6th place. For the final 5 laps, there is Alonso now getting perilously close to Diniz. He's going to send one down the inside of turn 7. No, he isn't. They're all going to get held up now by Diniz. We saw how much held up Ralf Schumacher was to David Coulthard. Alonso trying around the outside. He's gone wide. That's going to give Michael Schumacher the advantage, but Alonso shuts the door on the German. Is he going to send one down the inside, Michael Schumacher? He had a little look, but it's going to turn out to the inside for Alonso. And it is as you were, with Diniz still behind, still in front of everyone. Alonso now trying to lap again around turn 12, turn 13. Is Alonso finally going to put a lap on Diniz? Yes, he is. And Michael Schumacher easily passed him. Fisichella, I presume, will be the same. Yes, he is. They're all now past Diniz finally, but we had a little bit of action there thanks to Alonso half spinning. It was fantastic car control by the Spaniard. 9th place Sato, 10th place Webber is your rest of the top 10 as we go on to the final 4 laps of the Spanish Grand Prix. Fisichella lost a little bit of ground in the first 3 corners. There is Sato. I don't even know where that was. There is Webber in 10th place. Coulthard in 11th. Webber, I think they're both going round turn 3, but there's a huge gap. There is Lazy in 12th place in the Renault. 13th place, Jono Trulli. There's Frentzen. Well, Frentzen made his presence known to Trulli. He's now put a lap on him. Diniz is now in 14th place currently, after getting in the way of a few people. Young 15th and Hakkinen in his last place, in 16th in the McLaren, back to where his usual place is. Your list of times at the moment: Olivier Panis Pedro De La Rosa, the big name in the retirement list. Barrichello's in 19th and Raikkonen 20th place in the Sauber. Button currently leads still the Spanish Grand Prix. He's looking very, very set to take his second victory of the season in Spain. He took victory in Italy, which is a completely different track to what Spain is. So how on earth he's managed to win again is beyond me, but he's managed to make everything stick. There was Button going a little bit wide, but round the quick 2 corners of the Barcelona track, he's now onto these final 2 laps, which he can savour. He's 8 seconds in front of Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows. As he goes round turns 1 and 2, there is Ralf Schumacher. He's got Bertie for company, 7 tenths behind. Frentzen is 1.8 seconds behind Bertie. But it's going to be too little too late for the Jaguar in the penultimate race, as that was Frentzen in 4th place, Sarlo's in 5th place. At least we're going to have a competition for the Drivers' Championship, but unfortunately we're not going to have one for the Constructors, as it's looking set in stone that the Arrows is going to win the Constructors' Championship. Fisichella in 8th place in the Renault. Rounds turns 1 and 2. Sato 9th place in the Minardi. 10th place being Mark Webber in the Sauber. 11th place Coulthard in the McLaren. 12th place being Jean Lazy. 13th place Jono Trulli in the Jordan. 14th is still Diniz, 32 seconds behind Trulli, but 20 seconds in front of backmarker Young, with Hakkinen the last driver left on the circuit. As we go back on board with your race leader, Jenson Button's just gone round turns 1 and 2, around this long sweeping corner of turn 3, down towards a heavy braking point, turn 4, gear 2 corner, 140 kilometers an hour. Round turn 4, turn 5 quickly comes to you down the short straight, and then quite a little bit of acceleration, turn gear 5, then get down to gear 2 for the turn 7 and 8 chicane. Turns 9 is relatively flat out, a little bit of a lift for Jenson Button. Then down the back straight towards turns 10. So the 2 McLarens right in front of him with Coulthard and Hakkinen, and hopefully he doesn't have to negotiate them, because we're seeing the lap of a race winner here. Turn 11 for Jenson Button for the final time. The McLaren side by side on the spectacle. Hakkinen he nearly got taken out by Jenson Button, but Jenson Button going down the final corner to take victory in the Spanish Grand Prix. His second victory of the season for the Brits. Second place will be Ralf Schumacher coming past. Third place Bertie. And 4th place Frentzen to confirm the Constructors' Championships for the Arrows team. They have broken the Jaguar dominance. Finally, someone has beaten them, and it is Arrows that have done it. Sarlo 5th place in the Toyota. Is Alonso going to keep hold of 6th place? Yes, he is. He's managed to pull away from Michael Schumacher. 6th place is the Spaniard of Alonso at his home track. 7th place, Michael Schumacher. 8th place is Fisichella. They all dispersed a little bit. Sato is going to pick up 2 vital points in the fight for 8th place. As we go back on board with your race winner, as he goes around turn 10. It's a second race victory for the Jordan team. He joins Toyota, the Toyota of Mika Salo, with 2 wins. Your race winner for the Spanish Grand Prix, as he goes into Parc Ferme, is the Brit Jenson Button. As he goes back into the garage, and we are going to have the classified results. Title with Jenson Button winning 7 seconds was the final gap to Ralf Schumacher in the Arrows. 3rd place is Bertie. 4th place is Frentzen, confirming the Arrows Championship The Drivers' Championship is even closer. 6 points between the top 3 drivers as we go into Germany. Arrows had the slight advantage of being ahead of Bertie, but anything is to play for. We know what happens usually in these sorts of races, and I cannot wait to commentate on the season finale. So 2 Arrows versus Bertie as we look at the lap times of all the drivers. There is Jenson Button. Ralf Schumacher second place in the Arrows, wasn't outside the top 2 at all entire race. Bertie in third place, keeping his championship ambitions alive. Fourth place behind Howard Frentzen. The Arrows winning the Constructors' Championship, of course. Mika Salo is actually very close to the top 4. He's 14 seconds behind. And then there was a huge gap to Alonso, 6th place in the other Toyota. 7th place is the Ferrari of Michael Schumacher, with 8th place being Giancarlo Fisichella in the Renault. 9th place is Takuma Sato, 2 valuable points for the Minardi. In 10th place, Mark Webber in the Sauber. You got the rest of the finishers. Corfadio is in an 11th place. Trulli Lazy in 12th place. Trulli 13th, couldn't get past a Lazy in the end. 14th place was Dinners in the BAR. 15th place was Young, and 16th place was Hakkinen. The 4 retirements, as before mentioned, the Panis, the BAR, Pedro De La Rosa, the big one, pretty much handing the championship to the Arrows. And then we have Barrichello and Raikkonen also your final non-finishers. Thank you for watching the Spanish Grand Prix. I hope you join us for the German Grand Prix, which I can promise you is going to be a spectacle. The 2 Arrows versus Bertie. Be sure not to miss it. Goodbye.